oftentimes people get into politics, and when they do, they end up liking it so much, or it becomes a job for them, that they just look for other offices to run for. And another answer to your question is I think we have too many of those in City Hall, our City Hall right now. Y'all know what term limits are? Does anybody know what term limits are? Ever heard that expression before? One person is. What are term limits?
Is it like a certain time, certain amount of time to be mayor?
Exactly. Or, and not every part of our government has this, but we passed these rules a long time ago that said that certain kinds of jobs you could only do for so many years, and then you have to let someone else have a chance. So you've all studied American history, I'm sure, right? Yeah. Who's our president? How long can he be president if he wants to be president?
6 more years. Well,
okay. How much is it one term for the president?
4.
So how many terms does he get?
2.
2, right? And the fact that he only has 2 is a term limit, right? It says you can't have more than that. Right? Now they passed that law in Congress. I don't know, 30, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, right? The last guy who was doing this for multiple terms was Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He would have actually, if he had lived, served 4 terms. Right? Our governor is supposed to have 2 terms. Who's our governor? Y'all ought to know this. Who is it? Our governor of California.
Right now?
Yeah. As of today, who's our governor?
Jerry Brown. We talked about this in my
Jerry
advice.
Brown. Oh, yeah. Jerry Brown. He's from Oakland, by the way. He has a house. He has a house. Right?
Talks about him instituting Oakland School of Arts, Oakland Military.
Yeah. Remember him? Okay, so Brown was the governor back about 30 years ago. He had 2 terms, and then they passed term limits for governors too. But he was already out of office, and so that law didn't apply to him. He's already done. So that was why he was able to run for a 3rd, and he can do a 4th term if he wants to, because it's a new setup for him. Right? But everybody else, if they're going to be governor, you can only do it twice. That's a term limit. So now back to my point, which answers your question about why did I do this. A lot of times what happens when you have term limits is you get rid of old politicians and you let new people run, which is a good thing, because that means you can run when you're old enough if you want to too, without having to face someone who's been there for too long. They have to move along and make way. That's a good thing, right? But the bad thing with term limits is when people get termed out of office, they just, if they're professional politicians, they just look for another office to run for, right? So I don't like sitting in this chair, I'll come sit in that chair. I'm not the mayor, I'll be a councilman. I'm not a council member, I'll be in the state assembly, right? And basically this is what they do for a job. Right? If you're going to be in politics, I think if you're going to serve in city government, you should actually be committed to being there. It should matter to you because you want to be there, not because it's just some job you're doing until you're termed out and you're going to go do some other job, right? And for me personally, that was how I approached it.